Today we're going to take a look at a 1963 Studebaker Avanti that got into a tangle with a tree. If you're not familiar with these cars, I'll say a few brief things. Studebaker made this car in 1963 and 1964. After that, the name Avanti and the design was sold to another company who continued to produce what was called an Avanti 2. They were Chevy powered, and they made those for decades. But the Studebaker was 2 model years only, 63, 64. They are a fiberglass bodied car powered by a 289 cubic inch Studebaker V8 engine. You could get the optional Paxton supercharged model. The non-supercharged model had 240 horsepower, and the supercharged model had 289 horsepower. So I grew up with 2 Avantis in the family. Been in the family as long or longer than I have. It's what my dad drove to work when I was a little kid. This car here is neither one of those cars. This is one that I picked up a year ago from a friend who used to drive it, and one day ended up going off the road and hitting a tree. The car's been on the trailer ever since I bought it. Partly because the suspension was all messed up on the passenger side, and I can't put a wheel on it that'll roll to get it off. Figured I'd leave it on the trailer and do some work while it was up at a higher level, maybe even get the parts to get it back rolling. So the wreck happened, I think he was going somewhere between 25 and 40 miles per hour when he dodged a deer and went off the road kind of down a little bit of a slope and hit a tree. I've already taken the bumper off, but you can see fiberglass cars, it's hard saying where they're gonna break apart. You can see some damage up here by the A-pillar, and if you look in the engine compartment here, you can see right behind the hood latch, these hoods open reverse of a normal car. You can see where the fiberglass is separated there. You can also see where, when it hit, the impact pushed the engine back, and it stretched the motor mounts. And you can see where the distributor cap's not on it, but you can see in there where it pushed the engine against the firewall and broke that in. On the passenger side of the car, it also pushed something back such that the door won't close all the way. Interference there. Best I can tell, there is not any frame damage. Of course, I haven't put it on any kind of a jig or done any measurements, so maybe there is some damage, but the bulk of the damage that ripped the lower control arm loose, bent the upper control arm, and just made a mess of the passenger side steering and suspension. Somehow the impact caused the back of the water pump pulley a chunk to break out of that. I'm not quite sure how that happened, being that it's on the back side of the pulley. Again, my friend who was driving, he's okay and all healed up. So I bought this car not knowing if I would fix it up or if I would use it as parts for the other 2 Avantis that are in the family. Either way, it was worth getting. My hope is that I could rescue this. my next plan, while it's still on the trailer and while the rear axle is still secured with chains to the back of the trailer, I was going to hook my winch up and see if I could pull the engine forward. First off, I'll take this part of the body. The only thing that's holding it in is the radiator and some wires and things like that, and radiator hoses. So I will pull all that out first, get this section of the front off the car, then run a cable back to the engine and see if I can pull it forward. If I can, then I'm going to try and get this engine started up. You can see here the impact bent the top of the power steering reservoir, bent up these the spark plug wire looms. Again, like I say, it pushed the back of the firewall in, cracked the distributor cap, I believe, and bent a few other brackets. This car has the Borg-Warner 3-speed automatic transmission. You could also get these with a 4-speed standard transmission and probably a 3-speed standard transmission. This car also has the optional factory air conditioning. I hope to do a video at a later date once it's off the trailer and I can get the driver's door open. I'll do a more thorough walk around of the car. This car did end up getting hauled to an insurance lot after it was wrecked, and my friend who owned it bought it back so that he could sell it to me. At this point in time, I've got one other Avanti video posted. It is my red 63 that's been in the family for 50 plus years. If you haven't seen that video, I recommend tuning in. I've got a little bit more Studebaker Avanti history on that video. Well, thank you again for tuning into Quillbilly Garage. I hope you enjoyed this video. Till next time.